WNAA 90.1 The Voice. I'm your boy Javon Hubbard here with Brad Brooks.
What up?
Wanye Davis. And this right here is 3rd and 30. Oh man, it's heating up for the NCAA playoff picture, man.
Yeah,
How do you guys feel, man? Everything, the games that happened, Miami taking that loss.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, guys.
Man, Ohio State, a lot of people thought Ohio State would sneak in with that win in the Big Ten championship, but the committee proved right, and they put Alabama in. Alabama's the better team. They only have one loss to a top 5 team. Auburn losing to Georgia, that was a shocker. I didn't think Georgia was going to handle them like that. I thought Auburn would
28-7.
I thought Auburn would have went on ahead and won that game. But man, Clemson and Alabama Part 3. It's not for everything like how it's been in the past, but it's going to be an exciting one.
Bro, the committee 100% got it correct. Let me tell you why. Regardless of Ohio State winning a conference championship or what, I've been on the record. Wanye stated he thinks the Big Ten is the best conference. I don't think the Big Ten is all that. It's kind of gassed up. I think, he said the SEC is top heavy. Mm-hmm. I think the Big Ten is top heavy. All we've really been seeing is Ohio State ever since Urban Meyer has gotten there. And, despite them winning the championship, like I mentioned, they had a 31-point loss. Not to Alabama, not to Penn State, not to Michigan, anybody else in the conference. 31-point loss to Iowa. So ultimately, the committee, they just felt, we're not going to put this team in here. It's the same thing as last year. Now Ohio State is pointing the finger like, we won a conference championship. Why aren't we in here? And the committee's like, we don't care. Last year, we put you guys in. We put you guys ahead of Penn State. And they were the conference championship. So that's the new, the deal right now. So I think, the committee got it right 100%. And going into the postseason, I really think, Clemson, they are well deserving of being that number 1 seed. Mm-hmm. Right now, at the moment, they are playing best football top to bottom, both sides of the ball. Oklahoma being the number 2 seed, that's great. I think Baker Mayfield, this dude is poised, make plays on the big stage. Can't wait to see what he's going to do against Georgia.
Job done. TCU was not an easy team either. TCU is not a pushover.
Yeah,
they made them look that way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And same thing. That's what I wanted to say lastly about Georgia. Going into that SEC championship game, Wanye said he didn't see that. I didn't see that myself as well. It's so hard and difficult to beat a team twice in the same season, especially in the SEC when all the caliber of teams are so good. So that was something I wasn't expecting. Georgia, their defensive line is playing phenomenal. So seeing that defense going against Oklahoma, who has the number 1 offense in the country, that's going to be a dogfight. But ultimately, I'm going with Clemson and Oklahoma in the championship.
Yep,
I give my reason why.
Yep.
So I'll let Wanye say his prediction.
I like
first.
Oklahoma.
Y'all have been disrespecting Bama all year. Bro, Bama is going to handle Clemson. And let me tell you why. Bama has had more time to prepare, which is scary for a Nick Saban team. I don't believe in Clemson's offense yet. I don't believe in Kelly Bryant and Deion Kane and those boys going against Alabama and their defense. They've had more time to get healthy because obviously going through the SEC, you're getting banged up. You're playing a physical team not necessarily great, but a physical team every week. They've had more time. They've had that extra week to get healthy. I got Bama in Oklahoma, man. I got Bama in Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's Baker Mayfield's going to show out against Georgia. Mm-hmm. Not really a believer in Georgia against Alabama. I mean, not Alabama, but Oklahoma. I feel like Baker Mayfield's Heisman Trophy winner. I want to say Oklahoma over Alabama low key though, man. I think Baker Mayfield has I feel like he has the pieces around him this year to really make it to the championship and really make a run, kind of like that Deshaun Watson effect.
Has that one Bama loss shown you anything like about that team that you think can be exploited moving forward?
Honestly, not really. I feel like people read too much into losses. I mean, it's against a top 5 team. Like that's not a bad, and it was on the road. Mm-hmm. It's a big rivalry game. That's not a bad loss. That's not necessarily something that they may have exposed. I mean, it's not nothing that we didn't already know. We know Jalen Hurts is not, a great quarterback. We know their defense is kind of not healthy. So I don't think it really exposed anything. It's just they just had a better game than they did at that time.
Right. Well, what I think, I definitely think, Alabama and Clemson, the trilogy part 3, I think this is the hardest game to predict. Like Wanye said, Alabama does have quite a bit of time to prepare. Mm-hmm. Nick Saban is somebody you shouldn't bet against. But Clemson is turning that chapter. Dabo Swinney's becoming a guy don't bet against because we've seen he's gone toe-to-toe not once but twice with Alabama, gone toe-to-toe with him. And honestly,
Deshaun Watson has gone toe-to-toe.
Deshaun
Watson has gone toe-to-toe.
That whole team
Deshaun Watson has went toe-to-toe.
team.
Yeah.
And
No,
I'm like,
no,
honestly,
no.
what I said earlier, I really feel like
Dabo
right now
Swinney's a force to be reckoned
the
with.
standard of college football at the moment, as far as recruiting, the top 3 destinations now with Jimbo Fisher leaving Florida State are Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State. So right now, Clemson, they have a lot of momentum. They're getting just as good as recruits as Clemson. You know, we're seeing dudes from Alabama come. We're seeing dudes staying in-state in South Carolina. And honestly, I feel like that defensive line with Christian Watkins and my dude Dexter Lawrence, they're going to give Alabama a real contest, because right now, watching that Auburn game and watching Alabama play Mississippi State, when you expose them to, you know, where they have to make plays in the passing game, they are beatable. And I've said that all season. I'm not saying Bama is not the best team top to bottom, and they are a tough team to bet against, but when they don't have their strength in running the game, their linebacking core is beat up right now, so hopefully they are healthy by January 1st when the playoff starts. I just don't see them beating Clemson. Right now, both sides of the ball, they are dominant. Kelly Bryant is protecting the football. He's scoring. And that defense, like I said, is shut down.
So you guys went through and you gave your 2 teams for the playoff. I want you guys to name a strength and a weakness for each of those teams. So for you, it was Clemson and it was Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
So for Clemson, what is a strength you think and what is a weakness for them?
Strength, I would definitely say, is just, you know, experience. They've been here. They're not scared of the moment. But as far as weakness, I would say is the experience at the QB position. Despite, you know, my likeness towards Kelly Bryant, this is a dude, we haven't seen him in a college playoff. He's not Deshaun Watson, and we're not asking him to be Deshaun Watson. So that would be my
You're going to need him to beat Bama.
Well, we're going to need Jalen Hurts to come play, too, because he definitely hasn't been balling in the passing game. But as far as weakness for Oklahoma, it's definitely the defense side of the ball. That's the easy one. I think Georgia is going to be, you know, the consistency from the quarterback in Jake Fromm. That's what we're really going to have to see from them. And then lastly, Alabama, if they really do want to upset Clemson, it's going to be you have to bring it. Because like I said, we haven't seen that consistency from their offense.
Right.
So much this season, they have just been given to them. Like I said, I am a fan of Bama, but their resume does not speak well for themselves. So we're going to have to see.
That's it.
Everybody said this.
Man,
the best team in the country.
y'all always
Wanye,
disrespected Bama.
Whoever they played last week,
Making it through the best conference, like you said.
Okay, and
making it through the best conference, like you said. SEC with 1 loss to a top 5 team who, I mean, yeah, they got beaten in the conference championship, but with one loss. That speaks for itself. Beating Florida State, people have diminished that win so much, and it's ridiculous. They had DeAndre Francois. That was a top 3 team. That was the number 3 team in the nation, I believe, at the time. Yes, Francois got hurt and their season plummeted, but that was a top 3 team at that time at a neutral site, and they handled them. Those are 2. That's a quality win right there. And then making it through the SEC alone, that's not an easy task. Because a lot of time back in the day, before the college football playoff, a lot of SEC fans used to complain that SEC teams would beat up on each other, and that's why they wouldn't necessarily get to the national championship before, you know, Bama obviously took over. But Alabama is a great team. I feel like as far as the weaknesses and strengths, I feel like for all the teams, for Clemson, Georgia, and Alabama, obviously it's all their quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts hasn't proven himself. Jake Fromm is a freshman, and Kelly Bryant hasn't had the experience. Baker Mayfield has the experience. He's been here before. So I feel like that gives the up to Oklahoma. That's why I give them the nod over Georgia. As far as strengths for all the teams, obviously Bama, their experience, their coaching. They have the best coach out of the 4 teams. Clemson, I would say the same thing. They have probably the second best coach out of all these schools, and their defense is great, and they've been there, like you said. Oklahoma, their strength is their offense. They got the best quarterback. Their weakness is obviously their defense because they gave up 1 million points to Oklahoma State in that game, although they won it. And then UGA, it's just kind of, I'm just not sold on them yet, man. I'm just not on. I mean, yeah, they beat Auburn in the second time, but like they got embarrassed against Auburn the first time, 41-14, I believe. So I'm not sold on them. That's why I think Oklahoma's pretty much gonna take that away.
And to stay on this topic, I want to ask you guys this. You know, this is a season that we've seen so many teams come and go, and it has been so tougher this season, I guess, on paper. Do you guys feel like, you know, 4 teams is enough, or are you going future? Should they expand to 8 teams? Because me personally, I think they still should keep it at 4. I think they're doing it the correct way. Because, you know, championship week, you know, those are technically, in my eyes, those, you know, a playoff round. You know, we're seeing the teams go head to head. We've seen Miami get the opportunity to bring themselves back, avenge their loss. We've seen the team like Auburn. Let's see if they can stay in. So I feel like 4 is
they probably should stay at 4. Like you said, I mean, that's a great chance for us to see those teams that are top teams go head to head against each other, and then moving forward from there, you know, obviously keep it at that 4 teams. So I think 4.
Yeah, I feel like
8 would be too many.
would be too many.
Yeah.
And it's too many, and then you have to work out, the bowl games and all that stuff. And then I feel like if you do that, then I feel like you'd have to take one game off the schedule of the regular season schedule.
Right, it's not like NCAA basketball where you don't have bowl games, so you it's okay to play those different brackets and things moving forward, but the bowl games makes it too much.
And football's so much of a physical sport.
Right.
I mean, even in the NFL, the most games you would play is 3 because you got wild card, division, championship, so 4.
And
I feel like this is
Super
stupid at
Bowl,
4 because 8 teams. If it was 8 teams, not Oklahoma State. Ohio State would be in. Who else would be in? Wisconsin would be in.
Way how they lost.
And then who's 7 and 8? I can't remember.
Miami.
Miami might have made it, but
obviously, if you look at those teams, and I hate Wisconsin, I can't stand Wisconsin. So if you look at that latter half, the other 4 that would get in, it's no competition. They wouldn't last.
Right, and so for those teams that lost, just really quick, speaking of those, I know you talked about scouting. With Miami, I know Miami hasn't gotten, like you said, the talent that they need to get in.
Yeah, the big time recruits.
Moving forward, what do you think about that?
I feel like this year on signing day, you'll see a lot more ESPN 300 for those guys. I feel like, Mark Richt has brought, a lot of people said the U is back. It's not back yet. They're on their way, though. As you get recruits, because college sports is all about recruiting. It's all about talent. That's how the top teams stay at the top. If you look at their recruiting classes, it's always top 5. So I feel like Miami, you could see them probably get a top 5 recruiting class this year. A lot of guys are going to want to start to come there, which will increase their talent. And then if they keep up with the coaching, with Jimbo Fisher leaving to go to the SEC, they could sneak in and maybe be that competitor with Clemson on the SEC.
Real quick, man. Personal shout out to Central Florida, man. I was really impressed. Watched their conference championship, the American Conference. Scott Frost, he had a team, man, down there. 2 years ago, they went 0-12. This year, 12-0, perfect season. They'll be playing Auburn in their bowl game. So that's just that's a shout out down there, man.
For sure. So we're gonna go ahead and switch gears a little bit, move forward to the NFL, guys. Wanye smiling, looking down already, man. But we
fly, Eagles fly.
Right, it's only one winner sitting at the table right now, man. You know what I'm saying? You already know what it is. I'm looking directly at the camera, man. Shout out to the Saints. We're gonna keep them moving.
Eagles, why?
I should have called in sick today, man. I should have called in sick.
We're gonna run through some of these games, man. And we're gonna get to it. Trust and believe we're gonna get to it. But so the Cowboys, man, getting it done, getting back in that win column, man. Alfred Morris going off, running against those Redskin team. How do you guys feel about that? What does that mean for the Cowboys moving forward?
It quiets the storm for the moment.
It takes the media off their back as far as Dak can't do it, and which he still can't. I think he had under 200 yards in that game and maybe 2 touchdowns.
They relied on the run.
So, but I mean, they got, and it proved, when you can run the ball well. Yeah. Good things are going to happen with the Cowboys. Dez had a nice catch in the end zone. Had a nice touchdown catch. He looked back to his regular form on Thursday, but I don't think
5 for 61.
But he looked better than he has all year.
Okay.
He looked better. I take that back. Not his regular form.
Not regular form.
But he looked a
lot better. What is regular form for him anymore?
I don't know. But I mean they look kind of decent. They look kind of decent though. Don't read too much into it though.
Right.
Quiet for the moment.
Keeping it going, guys. Vikings, man. The Vikings are man. I can't even say they're heating up anymore, man. They are playing well.
I've been saying, man. I'm an advocate for Minnesota.
Yeah, you are.
I like Mike Zimmer's, man.
And
that team.
The Falcons are not a pushover, so it's like.
And that was probably one of the hottest teams at the moment. Those last 3 weeks we saw Atlanta clicking.
Right.
And despite them only putting up 14 points, Minnesota. And I know before the show, I just said Case Keenum is a third. He was a third-string quarterback, of course, but he is outplaying that. But the thing is, it's not that he's putting up MVP numbers. It's the fact that he's playing efficient. The dude protects the ball. He utilizes his weapon. And Minnesota, they just been that team. They're continuing to go. Dalvin Cook, their rookie sensation, he was having a phenomenal season at the beginning of the year. He goes down, and Latavius Murray, he steps up.
And
Jared McKinnon, he steps up.
And that too in itself, that's just great coaching in itself.
Yeah,
the fact that I've always liked Jared McKinnon, but he hasn't gotten the notoriety. Obviously, sitting behind AP for a while, things like that. He wasn't able to really get out there, right? But every time he touches the ball, it seems like it's just a highlight type of play. And then they use him. It's kind of like a smash and dash situation that they use together with Latavius Murray running straight ahead. North and south, and then you got McKinnon who can go, east and west a little bit
and
on
catch
those
out the
screens.
backfield.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And don't forget them receivers, Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. And then you got one of the best defenses in the league too, man. They got a great supporting cast.
I know last week, we mentioned Calais Campbell. Campbell as our consensus defensive player of the year, but you got to give Everson Griffin some
love. Oh,
man.
yes, sir.
That man is probably, if not the most underrated
sir.
defensive player in the league. He's one of them, man. He's a dog.
Yes, sir. So Patriots, man, they're still chugging along quietly but surely, man. Just getting the job done every single week. 23-3 against that Bills team.
They always go quiet. 13 and 3.
They really do.
Or 14 and 12.
They really
14
do.
and 2. They always go quiet. They always go unnoticed.
Just rolling along.
What y'all think about that Gronk play, that real quick?
Man, Gronk should be suspended for 1 game. That's absolutely ridiculous. He's an upstanding guy. He's a good guy. I know that's not
dirty,
his,
man.
That's not his character, but that's utterly ridiculous. Had he I saw Rodney Harrison said that had he done that out in the street on a Saturday night,
he would have got whooped.
He would have got whooped, or he would have been locked up.
Yeah,
you can't just excuse it just because it's a football team. The dude is on. I mean, Tre'Davious White is on the ground, and you go in, and you're a big dude.
It's not like you're.
And you
go
at his head.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
Real quick,
for a game.
I know the Bills have had a lot of dysfunction. They got the longest playoff drought in the NFL, and it's going to continue. Like that team, they just can't get right. It's so sad.
Got to find a quarterback.
Yeah. And and the Tyrod Taylor situation, like he had, like we said, the interception ratio isn't, you know what I'm saying, he's a great person to not throw picks, but he hasn't been a great quarterback.
You got to find it.
Last game, it was a big game where they needed him to step up and really show that why he should be the starter, and he couldn't do it.
They're
going to have to. I think, honestly, they're going to have to trade those draft picks and get one of those top quarterbacks at the top because you can't continue to be at that 7-9, 6-10 kind of mediocre.
They a lot of weight in the draft.
And so they definitely they're going to have to trade a lot of picks to draft up and get a quarterback.
They got 6 within the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, they got to get something.
The 49ers beat the Bears 15-14. That was an ugly game.
But shout out to Tariq Cohen, though,
Tariq Cohen, that return, man. That punt return was crazy. He was doing a little bit of dancing. I didn't know it was one of those oh no, oh yes plays, man. Like he took the ball and he went off to the right, and I was like, oh, they're about to smack this man. What is he doing? Did the little spin around and then ran all the way through the middle, right up between the hash, all the way down to the end zone, man. That was crazy.
That dude is talented, man.
For sure.
Talented.
The Packers, man, 26-20, getting the win. Staying in the hunt.
Aaron Rodgers coming back soon, man. They said
week 15, week 14 return, possibly against the Panthers too. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think they'll make a playoff push. I think him returning is more like a
shitty return, but shitty return.
It's
for the hunt, yes. For health, no.
They're not going to be in the hunt. They're not getting in the playoffs. Him coming back is him chasing Brett Favre. Him showing like, hey, I can be tough. I can still do it. I can lead this team. I'm still tough. I can get shoulder surgery or collarbone surgery and come out and throw for 300 yards. And he can do it. And so it's more so of a legacy statement rather than coming back for the playoffs because they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, and that Green Bay team, too, Brett Hundley only 84 yards and a pick, but, I mean, they ran.
But he won the game.
But the thing is, they stayed within that system of running the ball. They ran the ball. I think it's Jamal Williams is his name.
Yeah,
was running the ball. Yeah, he definitely was running the ball.
Man, Jones, he's an IR too.
Right, so they were definitely running the ball well in that game. The Texans dropping that game against the Titans 24-13.
Yeah, man. I mean, they just, once you lose your star quarterback, Deshaun Watson, it ain't really much you can do. It's not much you can salvage.
And then speaking on Tennessee real quick, Tennessee, they had a lot of expectations for me and a lot of other people in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely.
But this is a team, even though they have a winning record, they'll probably be a playoff team. They are the least impressive team with an over 500 record.
Absolutely.
Agree on that?
I would agree. Their division is horrible. I mean, the Jaguars have no offense. They got a pretty good defense, but no offense whatsoever.
Right.
The Texans don't have a quarterback anymore, and the Colts. There's enough said.
And Leonard Fournette still running the ball hard. I think he obviously stopped, running as hard as he was earlier in the season when he was really just tearing stuff up, those 100-yard games, scoring every game. But they definitely have something moving forward. I think the Jags have something to work off of moving forward.
I don't see my thing about Leonard Fournette. I don't see him lasting long. He played 3 years in the SEC. LSU ran him into the ground.
Yeah, they did.
And playing in the SEC where you're going against a physical team every week. And him having to be the feature back of the Jaguars, I don't see him lasting long.
And then real quick on Jacksonville, I know you guys, we both agree. Everybody agrees that Blake Bortles is not the future.
Yeah,
he's not the answer. And they picked up his 5th-year option. But I have an interesting theory about Jacksonville. Tom Coughlin's in the front office today. Ben McAdoo, he got fired. Yeah. Jerry Reese, he got fired from the New York Giants. I think if New York, they're gonna be at the top of the draft. If they really find their dude, whoever that player is, they drive Josh Rosen. Fields and Baker Mayfield, whoever they draft, I think Eli Manning could possibly be out the door. You know, maybe and it could be that can also, and, you know, Jacksonville could also be a landing spot for, you know, Kirk Cousins. They haven't. Washington hasn't committed to him long term. You know, maybe Denver. It's so many teams that's going to be.
To me, all they need is a quarterback. I mean, Dede Westbrook's coming along.
Oh, the Jaguars.
I think Dede Westbrook's coming along. Marquise Lee has played phenomenal as stepping into from really a third option at the beginning of the year to the #1 wide receiver. I mean, and the defense obviously is great.
I feel like if you get Eli, I mean, they're not it's the AFC South is not a good division by any means. I mean, well, the Texans could be back on the
Texans
map.
are definitely going to be
you know, granted Deshaun Watson comes back
and
himself. You know, and J.J. Watt comes back as himself. But, I mean, Eli Manning could put him over the hump and maybe get him to the playoffs, but it would be a nice move, but I don't really see it making too much noise.
Yeah, that Ravens team and that Ravens defense stifling Detroit.
They said
Detroit 44-20, man.
That defense is ridiculous. That defense is top notch.
Yeah, once again we see Flacco, man, playing behind that defense, man. We see him playing behind that great defense. He had 269 and 2 touchdowns, but the defense really just, I mean, made a statement to me.
Absolutely.
I think against a good offense. I mean, you
know. Dirty something and styrofoam. Spend a day to get my mind blown. Dress it up and go to Nassau.